Okay, we have the deflectors off, got everything smoothed out pretty good. So now I'm going to show you a couple little steps to help guide this ice surface on. Because the playing surface is not even, you've got some cutouts in it and that. I don't design this to just completely cover the entire actual playing surface. The piece. It covers the whole playing surface, just not the whole piece here. There's no need to be cutting out the little circles here on these ends. The bubble covers this up anyway. So this is made so that when we put this on, we'll actually have some guides that can be seen. If it came all the way to the end here, it would be really difficult to see some of these guides. So first you want to measure your playing surface and find the exact center on each end. Here it happens to be right in the center of this hole. If that's what works out on all of them, that's great. So I put a little mark here, and I did that on each end. Now with the ice surface wrap, if it comes from me, the way that I've designed it is that your center is 16 inches from this edge here. So I put a ruler at the end here, and I come in 16 inches. I'm using a dry erase marker, and I'm going to make a mark there. What that'll do is allow me to know my center when I'm lining this up. I also designed this to where it is about 1/8 of an inch short on each end here, so that you can make your mark and you can see it both. So when you go to lay them down, if you have both of these lined up, you will also be able to see just a tiny bit of our center line here. Now it doesn't really matter if this lines up with the original red line, because the lines that they put on there, they're not always perfect. So don't worry about that too much. If you want to be safe, what you can do is measure the center of the actual original surface, and you can make a mark there. I'm not too worried about it. I know that if I'm off just 1/8 of an inch here and 1/8 of an inch here, I know that I'm at my center. My other marks line up. And what you'll notice here is with my design, what I've done is I've moved the blue lines out a little bit. This is so that I can make room so that the center ice, the face-off circles, and the adds, they look a little bit better this way. If I made my blue line up here, you could obviously tell I'd have to move the dots in, the adds would have to be smaller, it'd really be close to the center ice logo. I just think it looks better this way. It doesn't change anything as far as the play. If you do shots or whatever that you use the blue line as a guide, just know that it's just a little bit closer to the goal on it. Now the goal lines on this design, I can do this both ways. I can make the goal lines where they are the same as the original, which the goal line actually goes in front of the goal posts. Being that I want it to be as realistic as possible, my design actually has the goal line lining up with the goal post. When you score a goal in hockey, the puck has to completely cross a line, and that line is in between the goal posts. The original, it would be in front. So when we get this set up and we have our marks lined up, you can feel the slots and the holes. So what you'd want to do is just kind of feel and make sure that you're in the right spot. I can feel that the hole is here, which is pretty much almost exactly where I want it. I pretty much where the goal is at, I'm not really going to have a red line here. It may show up just on the very edge, but this red line is going to be cut out with this hole. Also check your center. Make sure that the puck ejector slot is right there. Just kind of check this stuff. Just feel it and see if, make sure that things are in the place that they're supposed to be. And so what we'll do next is I got someone coming over to help me, because you You really should use 2 people to actually apply the surface. It'll make things a lot easier. But this is just to check things out. I have designed this to where you won't have to cut this piece out. At least it does come and it falls short of this edge here. The only piece that would need to be cut out is going to be right here where the ribbon cable is. Once the ice surface is on, I'll show you how to cut all this stuff out. It's really simple. Again, I'm probably going to try to apply this while it's sitting on the machine here, just because it's so cold outside today. Otherwise, I would say just take the ice surface off, put it on a big table, so you got plenty of room and it's just easier to work with. We'll see if this works out today, that we can just apply it while it's on the machine here. So we'll come back when we're ready to put this on. Okay, now we're going to put this wrap onto the playing surface. Got our center marks and lines all marked here. I did make a pencil line on the edge where the vinyl will go. It doesn't matter if you do that or not. But if you got 2 people, what you're going to do is just peel the entire back side of this thing. This control tack material is pretty good. You'll be able to move it around after you lay it down. So you don't need to try and work from one side or even try to peel just the middle or any of that. Just peel the whole thing. Regrip. Probably start on your outside edge. Try to line up where you need to be. Like I said, this stuff is able to be moved and you can peel it up. So just try to get sort of close.
Pull your starter. Just a hair.
Okay, then once you got it in position, just kind of check to see if you're where you want to be. I think I want to come this way just a hair. Where are you at? Are you on your line pretty good?
If anything, I need to go this way.
Alright, we might just be tilted a little bit.
I am perfect.
Pretty good. Okay, and then you can pretty much just let the vinyl rest, because it still won't stick. We can still pull it up at this point. We can still move it. Find your middle. Just kind of start pushing the sticker down around the puck ejector slot there. And then just work right on down the red line. This stuff is also very hard to get air bubbles in it. Like if you get an air bubble, it pushes out real easy. Just be careful that you don't crease the vinyl. Just kind of watch as you go along. Just kind of push slowly, work from the middle to your middle to the end, and then out to the edges. Just kind of work down about 4 inches and keep working to the outside as you go. And you don't have to push too hard right now. Well, once it's settled on there, then you can really roll it on. Use a rolling pin or whatever the hell you want, or just use your hand in a hard surface. So once you cover an area, I went from center line to blue line, so I'm going to come back to the middle. I'm going to push from the blue line down to about the top of the goal crease. try to get yourself an angle where you can see in the light. You can see your air bubbles and your wrinkles. Okay, now once you get to the gold crease, from then on down, you might start to get some wrinkles at the end. Now you're really starting to push out. You're nice and flat everywhere. You might start to run into some bubbles and some wrinkles. At this point, if you do, just grab your corners and peel that up. You can pull them right on out of there. You get to the your gold drop here, maybe kind of push around the gold drop pretty good. Get that to set pretty good. Don't try to push down where that hole is. So you'll definitely get some wrinkles. Again, so once we get this totally done, we can really push it down, and once all the holes in that are cut out of it, then we can also push down even more. So just to show how easy this is and how quickly this went on, I don't see a single air bubble at all right now. No creases, no wrinkles, no air bubbles. This stuff just goes on real easy. You just gotta take your time. You know, it is kind of expensive, so you don't want to waste it. So once we're sure that we've got a pretty good set here, don't have any major air bubbles or major wrinkles, we're totally fine. If you got some small ones, it's not a big deal. Again, we still got to cut the tracks out. We can push them out later. But I definitely want to push down pretty good around where your deflectors are going to go. That doesn't have to be right now. It can be when you get it out on a harder surface, if you're doing it in the game like this, or after you get the player tracks done. But you want to try and push around where those were as hard as you can, so that you can try to see where they were, so that when we put the new ones on, it's real easy to line them up. So I think at this point we're pretty good with this. I'm going to take this to a hard floor so I can really push that vinyl down on there good, make sure I got a real good stick to it. I mean, even at this point, as lightly as it's been pushed down, if I wanted to, I could grab this corner and peel the whole thing right back up without damaging it. If you do stretch it for some reason, that can happen. Pretty hard with this material, but if you do stretch it, you can just apply some heat to it. So you work to the area that you stretched, and then take a hair dryer with just some light heat, put it on it, and it'll shrink it back up, and then you lay it down without the wrinkles. If you are using a squeegee or anything of that sort to push it down and you scratch it, same thing. Use a hair dryer and it will actually remove scratches from the laminate if you do that. Just be careful, because the ice surface will deform a bit. Don't worry if it does warp a little bit, because when it cools down it will go back, but just be careful. If you go too far with it, you could do some damage, but hopefully you won't need to use any heat at all. So we're going to cut off now. I'll go push this down, and then we'll make the next video be cutting all your tracks out and your gold.